Welcome to the Book Brothers podcast, a podcast where two gentlemen who enjoy pulp fiction get
Not just
online and talk
fiction.
about their pulp fiction. Not really pulp fiction in
Fiction.
the pulpy sense, but all books are pulp technically. So I think that still counts, right? And I think this would be episode 12 or 13. I really should do my homework before I
I
open
don't know. We
these,
should
but
check the
either
numbers.
way, it's been a kind of a slow burn doing this show, but that's fine because it still gives us a platform to sort of get it all out about what we've been reading, what we've finished. And I have quite a few things that I've finished, but
Yeah.
the book of the week that my co-host, Mr. David Cardoso, aka Professor Pixel, chose was
Yes.
Solaris,
Yeah.
a short science fiction novel.
Here's
Would you call it a
Solaris.
novella? Is it more accurate to call it a novella, David? What do you think?
I think Solaris is just long enough to be considered a novel because it's 200 over 200 pages. So I believe it makes the cutoff as a novel.
Gotcha.
It is very close to a novella, but it's a novel. So
So I have read it, but a
it
long
says so
time
right
ago.
there. It says so right there on the cover.
Oh, there you go. Well,
It's
hey,
just-
it's right on
proof.
the novel. It's right on the cover. It says novel.
Yeah.
Tell us, David, what is it about? Why'd you choose it?
Okay. Yeah. So Solaris. Yeah. So you talked about Solaris before, Adrian, because you had wanted to do an episode about Solaris. I was like, well, because I was thinking about reading another book, and the appeal of Solaris for me was, of course, it's science fiction, which we both love. So of course it fit with that for the Book Brothers podcast, and then also it's short, it's 200 pages. So I was like, well, I can get through this pretty quick. And you said it's good, so I was like, I'm gonna dive into this thing. And I only knew previously, I haven't seen the movies yet, but I only had heard of the movies before, so I didn't really know anything about this book, which was kind of fun. I always suggest readers out there, listeners, that you dive into a book you have know nothing about, just know that it's science fiction. So, but yeah, so I chose Solaris just because you were interested in it, and it's science fiction, sounded interesting, and it's short. So there you go. But yeah, Solaris is actually it's really good. And actually, it's always fun, like on the channel when we find a book that we really like, because this author, Stanislaw Lem, like it's always fun to like find a new book that you've read that I've discovered this new author, and I texted you, Adrian, as well. Like we discovered Octavia Butler on the channel as well with
That's
the
right.
Parable of the Sower. Like you realize you've discovered a new author. Like this guy's really good. Like this guy's amazing. Like more people should read this guy. Anyway, so Solaris is, yeah, it's about these scientists go to this planet called Solaris, and there's a giant ocean, and these scientists think that this ocean might actually be conscious. It might be a living alien thing. And this alien ocean that they think could be a sentient being is like giving them visions and weird hallucinations on their station on the planet. And these hallucinations are, I mean, you know all about Adrian, but I'll just, give a quick synopsis. The hallucinations are mostly with like past lovers or people from their life. In the case of the main character, his name is Chris Kelvin. It's like, yeah, Chris Kelvin. In his case, he sees Rhea, a former lover of his, and she had died. I don't think we actually find out how she died, but we know that she had died previously, and but that he still sees her every night at his station, and so he starts to like one of the other guys at the station, his name is Snow. He warns Chris Kelvin. He's like, well, this alien planet is very weird and strange things have happened. And when Kelvin gets there, he gives him a warning, like this other guy, I think his name was Gabarian, he actually had ended his life. And he warns them that people have lost their minds here on the station, and people have lost their wits about them. And so he gives them that warning about what could happen to him at this station. And so it's almost like it kind of touches on horror a little bit. It definitely like psychological. It's mostly like a psychological science fiction, which is pretty interesting. The fact that it plays with, for me, the themes were like really big on isolation and, loneliness. Especially if you are a scientist, or even think of like astronauts in real life. Like if you actually have to go to a space station, like obviously we haven't gone to a new planet yet, but we've gone to the moon. But imagine you're out there like on a strange world. Like I could imagine someone being like lonely or sleep deprivation or other things, and people could probably see things. There could probably be actual hallucinations that could actually happen, and like that's an interesting thing that Lem
Definitely.
plays with in the book, where it's like, oh, you could actually see visions, maybe. So just even the psychological perspective of humans, where we're social beings, and like we always like we need connection, we need people. So I think Lem does a really good job of touching on that on Solaris.
Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
even have to leave the planet, David. You could think about the
Yeah.
scientists down at the
Oh yeah.
Antarctica Research Station.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I
I
don't
heard
know
of
how
that.
many people there are there at a time. I'm pretty sure it's more than the space station, but
Yeah,
it's still. I've seen videos on YouTube and TikTok of people who work down there,
yeah.
and it look obviously it's probably the most isolated
Oh, probably.
place that you can be on the
Sure.
planet. Not to mention the freezing, sub-freezing temperatures and the snowstorms
Yeah,
and all
just the
that.
conditions themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something
Um,
very, that's called liminal. There's something very liminal about that. You know what
liminal.
liminal is?
I know
Liminal is
subliminal. What does liminal mean?
like you're in a location that's kind of a vast
Limited?
open area and there's like
Oh,
almost nobody around.
okay.
So
Interesting. Yeah.
good opportunities for horror there. And there's actually a movie coming
Yeah.
out soon called The Back Rooms. Have you heard of this? The Back Rooms.
I have not. No.
It's essentially how do I explain it? Basically, somebody falls into this weird alternate dimensional area that looks like a bunch of like empty office space, but it's like
Hmm.
infinite, and there's always
Okay.
something scary
Interesting.
afoot.
Yeah, yeah. So science fiction has always played with that. But Lem does a really good job of doing it with Solaris. But yeah, other than the isolation and just seeing that really is probably like the main focus of it is he sees Rhea and then he knows that the other people on the station have seen people. They don't really share who they have seen. But one thing that is good about this book, unlike Penultimate Truth, which you read previously, like this book, the
Yeah.
way that Lim writes it, very simple, very beautiful language, very simple, but only one character that we follow. That's it. So it only follows Chris Kelvin. So unlike Penultimate Truth and other writers, when you make it overly complex and like too many characters, like I even did with my book where I have a lot of characters, but like I do like the fact that he just follows the one character. And I think it helps with the story too, because it is a complex, like psychological kind of thriller in a way. And so I think it helps with the reader kind of like keep your bearings straight. So you're just following this one guy's experience the whole way, you know? I did like that with
Remind me again, where were they located again?
they're on the planet Solaris. They're in a station though, so like they at first there's like an orbiting station, but then he actually lands on the planet in a station, like
Aren't
on the
they?
planet.
I thought they were on like on the water or something.
Well, actually, so at the end of the book, he makes a comment. He's like, "Well, actually, I want to step out onto the planet." So actually, he was actually in the station the whole time studying the planet, and there's like a library in there that he reads about the book or about the he reads books about the planet. But he actually never stepped out onto the planet, and he did that at the very end. He actually stepped out onto the planet because he's like, I don't want to be on Solaris and not have been considered to like have stepped onto the planet. So I think other researchers, other scientists have stepped out onto that planet, but like when he got there was one scientist that had already ended his life, and Snow and Sartorius are the other scientists there, and they've already kind of had like issues with their hallucinations, so they didn't want to like. I think they were staying safe in the station. You know, they didn't. They saw what the ocean was doing to them because they assumed basically the scientists had assumed that the ocean was giving them these visions. You know, like making these people, and whether they were visions or real or not, they knew that the ocean was somehow involved in it, and so they didn't want to like interfere too much. They were kind of like losing themselves, so they didn't want to do too much. So that's why they stayed in the station throughout the book.
Wasn't that the twist of the story? Is that the ocean is basically it contains all of like human memory across time or something like that? Did I remember that wrong?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So like we don't know for certain what the ocean is. They do think it is sentient because like it's also cool about this book is there's like a couple chapters where the main character goes into the library and he reads a bunch of books and research about previous. I always love this when they add this element to it and it really builds the world a lot. But then he studies other scientists who have studied the ocean. And so he goes into this library in this facility and he's like wants to study about the ocean and they study the different parts of it and everything. And I guess this ocean, it has very different features and it can create all these different structures. And they came to the conclusion that either it was either dying or it was being born, or it was just like this living thing that was trying to communicate in some way. Because there was also he read in the library that at one point, like, oh, maybe that one scientist said like, oh, maybe it's trying to communicate, but it doesn't know how to communicate with humans. And so it's giving us these visions. That was the initial idea. So like maybe the hallucinations were its way to like, it can somehow get into our minds, like when we sleep. That was another idea, is like, oh, our dreams. So maybe it's getting into our minds in our sleep. And so it's communicating with us with the different people that we know throughout our lives. So that was pretty cool too, talking about dreams. So
That's
that
what
was a
it was.
possibility. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool too. Yeah. Just that a pretty cool idea. It's pretty pretty out there, but I love that idea. Just the different alien uh, beings that could be out there. It's like, what if there was a conscious ocean? How would it communicate with other, humans, other life? It's pretty cool.
Did you watch any? I think there was one or two movies made about based on the book, right?
I think there's two. Yeah, I need to watch them. I
I
will
haven't
watch
watched
them.
any of them. I did. So
Okay.
I listened to the audiobook, which I know you love, David.
Yes.
This was 2 years ago. And
I'm
I
gonna
remember it
post
being
it.
really short. And
Okay.
it was done, it wasn't like your typical audiobook where it's just the narrator just reading verbatim. It
Yeah.
was done more of like a
You
audio
have the
drama.
characters. Oh, okay.
Yeah. There
That's
weren't,
cool.
I don't think there were different voice actors, but they did. I just remember it feeling more like an audio drama than an audio book. But
Mhm.
I really like that aspect of it. I like the idea that
Yeah.
the ocean is like this, like you said, this sentient,
Conscious, sentient thing.
conscious thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
that I thought
Yeah.
that was really cool. So
Yeah. Yeah. I love all the lore about it too, because he goes through the different researchers that have been there on the facility. Um, Really cool. There was actually one that was really cool. There was this pilot named Burton, like he had come before, and they interviewed him, and Chris Calvin was reading his account. There was a little book that one of the, I think it was, I don't know if I remember if it was Snow or Sartorius, but he gives them the book called Little Apocrypha, and it was like a former researcher that had come to Solaris, and he accounts this pilot who had gone really close to the ocean, and he was like flying really low to the ocean, and he saw this vision of the ocean, and then what the ocean was doing was actually it had created this human child, like a giant human child in this form. And so this pilot recounts that like he saw this like giant child, and but he said it looked kind of alien in a way too, because he said like its features, like one half of his face was like not any emotions and the other half was doing a lot of emotions, but it almost looked like the creature or the child was not controlling itself. It was almost like someone else was controlling the emotions.
that sounds creepy.
That was really creepy. That was like the crazy. I could just imagine the image. I was like, oh, this would be an interesting movie to watch. But then like so after that account, then I realized and then Chris Kelvin kind of comes up with some clues too, that the visions that they're seeing. So that book kind of helped him to kind of come up with the idea that, oh, he's seeing his former lover and these other guys have seen people in their lives, walk around in the station, and he thinks that the ocean that like confirmed that like the ocean is like manipulating these forms and stuff like that, and like making them see these visions. The fact that he saw like this human, so like the ocean is aware that the humans are there visiting the planet and trying to communicate with them in some weird way. But unfortunately, what happened was like it became very psychological and difficult for the humans to navigate that. And then so, at that point, then it's just too difficult for it to communicate. So it's almost like the Tower of Babel situation where everyone's like speaking different languages. So that kind of comes up too in the novel where it's like maybe the ocean is just trying to be like peaceful. We don't know, but it's actually having like a negative effect on the humans. And they don't know either, but they're trying to study it and like learn all its like different forms and stuff. So that was pretty
Did you
interesting.
ever read Sphere by Michael Crichton?
I did not. You talked about it before.
I really like that book.
Okay.
I could see that being like a more, high octane techno thriller version
Mhm.
of Solaris, in the
Okay.
sense that like they discover this alien spaceship on the bottom of the
Mhm.
ocean, and then they start to
Yeah.
see actual manifestations of like their different fears and stuff. It's really cool. I think I read
Yeah.
that book in a week. I think that's the fastest I've ever read like a novel because it
Oh,
was
really?
so engaging. It was just
Yeah.
that good that I couldn't
Mm.
I couldn't put it down.
I
But
probably would have read this one. I read the first half super quick, and then I took a little like week break, and then I went back into it so I could finish for the podcast. But yeah, this is definitely a very engaging book. Also, what's cool is so the first person he sees on the station is this. He sees like a black woman walking by in the station. She's like, I think she was naked, but I don't know. I don't think Chris Kelvin actually knew her. So I'm assuming that was someone else's like vision, that he happened to see. But that is
I don't
also
remember that part. What
you
was
remember
the
that.
context of that?
That was the first vision that he saw, and then he says he talks to Snow, the other scientist there, and then he tells Snow, he's like, "Oh, did?" And then Snow realizes that he saw, like Chris saw this vision. He's like, "Oh, you saw her, right?" And he just saw her walking by. She never talked to him, like this black woman. She never talked to him. So presumably it was like Sartorius is the other scientist on the station. So like presumably that was like another vision that he saw of someone else's person, in their personal life. That's my assumption. But like, as I
Interesting.
said, like yeah, but as I said, like he sees Rhea, his former lover, and she had died already, but then he sees her all the time, and they start to have rekindle their romance and their relationship, and they sleep together and everything. But after a while, oh yeah, there was a funny scene where he like sends her up. He sends up Rhea in the ship, so he sends her back up into the station in orbit. The first time he sees her, because he doesn't believe it, and he's like in shock, and so he sends her up in the station, and then Snow's talking to him. It's like, oh, did you just send her off, like, or whatever? And then he's like, she'll come back or whatever. Like he like is warning him that's not going to work. And then sure enough, she comes back later on. So like obviously the ocean is still like it's just like a vision. But also what's weird is like this Rhea, she still has memories. So throughout the book, as they're talking and they're having discussions, then Rhea, like the longer she stays with Chris, it was pretty interesting because even though she's supposedly a hallucination, but she has memories and she has a physicality to her. And then she even starts to remember certain things about their past lives together. So she knows some of their past history together. But then she also understands when Chris is talking to her about what's going on, then she kind of understands that she probably isn't real. And so they kind of come to this understanding that like, oh, I'm probably like an imitation of who I used to be kind of thing. And that at the end of the book, that kind of drives her a little crazy. That she kind of loses it a little bit, and so even she realizes like she's fake, and the ocean like made her, and that
I
it's
don't
pretty weird.
remember that.
You remember
That's
that?
so
Yeah,
fun.
like
No.
she kind of comes to a realization like, oh, I think the ocean made me, and I think you're right, and like so she doesn't know who she is, so it gets kind of trippy there at the end.
That is very trippy.
They're pretty cool, yeah. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, what if you're a hallucination and like then you're like, wait, who made me? Am I even real? And then you have a new memory, and I don't know. It was pretty interesting.
I mean,
Was
do you ever like look at yourself in the mirror and think that? Do you ever have like
no,
an
I've
existential
never.
crisis?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I have. I mean, I'm atheist agnostic, so I definitely have like more existential things sometimes. But I would say the only thing I've come more closer to that was I actually had this experience in high school. This is a random story, but it's kind of fun. But in high school, we actually had at our grad night when I was like 18. We're seniors, we're celebrating everything. But then they had a hypnotist come out on stage, and the hypnotist was doing stuff with all the kids, and he was making them do all the silly stuff or whatever. And then while he's doing that, I'm in the audience going like, "Shit, am I being hypnotized right now?" Like I had that idea in my head. I was like, am I somehow going to wake up and then like be on stage or something?" I had like that weird feeling of like, I hope I'm not being hypnotized right now, because like I just saw these students being hypnotized. Like, how's this working? And it didn't work on all of them, but like most of them were doing the stuff that he was doing. And I was like, is he hypnotizing me right now? Like 'cause I just had that kind of idea. So thinking about like hallucination or kind of like that was like one moment where I was like, I hope I'm not gonna wake up. Like I had that was a fun memory. I don't know if you had
Yeah,
any situations like that, Adrian, or
not like
hypnotism
that
or
specifically, but when I was younger, there were times when I thought about like, oh, I'm just a person in this body, and I just exist in this world,
yeah,
and like, there's really no answer as to why. There's not really a why. People always are
yeah,
looking for the why in the universe. Why
yeah.
do we exist? Why is
Why
all
this?
this?
Why that? Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter why. The why is
yeah,
completely irrelevant, I think, right?
yeah,
So, but when I was younger,
yeah,
I didn't think that. I just like thought, here I am, and
yeah,
this is a vessel, and
yeah.
I haven't had that in a long time. I'm gled, but
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
existentialism is interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I've had that more recently, I would say, because like in my 20s, I had it, I would say pretty easy for the most part. But then in my 30s, when life happens, you get a little bit older too. So then I was like, well, what is the point of all this? You do start thinking that a little bit. But as, but
No,
as you
I
said,
agree.
Adrian, like, yeah, I mean, I still have that once in a while. I try not to spiral too much into that though, because I was just like, after a while, I'm just like, you know what, like all this why, and I was like, obviously no one's ever going to find the full answer. Like that's what's going to happen. Like no one will ever have a full 100% answer, and that's fine, like. So then it was just like, just do what you want to do and do the best you can, and that's kind of it. Like otherwise you just let it be. And I don't
I
know.
agree, and I think you tell me what you think, but I think that that's why people turn to religion is because they need to know the why. They need to have a purpose
So
for
yeah,
existing, and I think
right,
that's why
there has to be some
religion is so
overarching.
powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it helps the older you get, because then you're like, well, I did all this stuff and then why? But I'm like, I don't know, why never really. See, Lily agrees with me too. Yeah, all these whys, and I'm just like, as a scientist, I want to know like the underlying reasons, why things are happening, not the overarching like big purpose. Because like purpose will just kind of like, I don't know, like if there is some kind of like entity or being or whatever out there, it's like that'll take care of itself. It doesn't really matter. Like just do whatever you can to do the best you can. That helps a little bit with it.
It's hard as a creative person because you're always trying to find like what is your purpose in life, right?
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Yeah. And I
but
do that too, and I think you do that too,
we
for
live in
sure.
a world that has fostered a culture of like your purpose is to make other people wealthy, and
Make money. Yeah.
you get whatever you can get to barely survive. But
Yeah.
as long
Yeah.
as you're keeping the shareholders wealthy, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Um,
kind of empty in
so
a way.
when you're a creative person, it's like, well, I guess you got to play the game to turn your art into commerce, so that you
Sort of,
can
some way.
live off of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, what other choice do you have otherwise? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
I
don't
mean,
want
there's
to get
always,
on my I don't want to get on my what do you
yeah, we
call
can
it?
have that debate another time. That's an
You can't
interesting
be
conversation.
exactly.
I do
I
like
don't
that
want to.
conversation though, but we can have that another time. But
Yeah.
yeah, going back to Solaris. Yeah, back to Solaris. It was interesting that Rhea had that kind of like, maybe she wasn't super existential, but she was just questioning like who she was, because she was like she thought she was real at first, and then since Chris had questioned who she was, and she's like, well, am I even a person? Because like with us we're talking about like why, but with her she was asking like, well, am I even a person? Because she thought she was even a person, but then she realized like I don't think I'm even human because she realized like, oh, I think the ocean made me, like made me from memories or whatever, and that was pretty interesting.
I
Um,
kind of took all that as
yeah,
the idea that everything is connected.
yeah,
For
yeah,
example,
for sure.
the Sahara Desert in Africa, all the trade winds blow a lot of that dirt across the planet. A lot
Yeah,
of it ends up in South America, and those plants and trees and stuff like get nutrients from the dirt that's blown in from Africa,
yeah,
halfway across the planet.
yeah, yeah.
And I just find that so fascinating that our planet in real life, like all these major systems, the trade winds and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ocean
for
and
sure.
everything is just connected one way or
All
the other. You
interconnected.
are
Yeah.
directly or indirectly
Mhm.
affected by something happening on the other side of the planet. So
Yeah, yeah, for
I
sure.
just find that
There's a
so
science book.
interesting.
There's one of my science books I'm reading right now talks about that a lot. Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, real quick. So to end up Solaris here, yeah, great book, very well written, very poetic, beautiful, psychological. But also it does a good balance of the two, where it has like a deep study of the ocean and this living creature that they're trying to figure out, as well as psychological, because they're trying to figure out what these hallucinations are, who these people are that the ocean is like making. And at the end of the book, I actually think that there's actually a small passage here, but I'll just kind of talk about it. But there's a bunch of theories about what the ocean is, and like, is it dying? Is it being born? Is it alive or not? And at the end, Chris actually has a theory that Snow comes up with it because him and Chris are talking, and Snow says like, oh, they have a metaphysical talk. They talk about God and everything. And Chris actually asks him, do you believe in God? And then Snow says, well, they have a discussion about God and everything. And then Snow's like, oh, people don't really believe in that anymore. He kind of says that, kind of like we were saying. He's like, oh, a lot of people don't even bother with God anymore. And and then Chris kind of goes on about like, well, what if there was this God that was like imperfect? He talks about an imperfect God, a God that was like not perfect at all, that didn't really know it was a God, and it was very powerful, but not all powerful. And that was really interesting. I was like, hmm. And then Snow makes the idea. He makes the leap. He's like, well, what if the ocean is this imperfect God? What if this ocean is like the first step of this God? It's like being born, and we're watching it being born and trying to communicate with us. And so that was at the end of the book. And so that for me, that was like Lem saying that was his theory of the ocean, was like it's kind of like a godlike being, but it's this imperfect kind of like God. It's trying to communicate with humans, and it's failing to. And all the thrashing and stuff, is it trying to like it's coming into existence kind of thing, because all the different waves would create different forms and it would create humans. And yeah, just the alienness of it, and it's just crazy and weird and strange. So that was kind of like, I think that was Lem's way of saying that's what hit the ocean was to him. At least for me, that's how I took it. That it's like this divine creature that's coming into existence and trying to communicate with humans. So pretty
It's a
cool.
very unique idea for a
Yeah,
science
pretty
fiction
cool.
novel that you don't
Really cool.
really
Yeah, yeah.
see too often, right?
Yeah, it touches on mythology and, psychology a little bit more, I think, than other science fiction for sure. Pretty interesting. Also, the fact that like the scientists, I think another big theme is the fact that like science, there's like a limit to science, which I found for myself too. Like you can never know. I mean, we talked a little bit about with like the why questions, but you can never fully know anything 100%. And so I think it's the same with Solaris, where it's like they never quite figure out what the ocean is, and why it's there. But just the study of it is part of the process. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, that's Solaris. Fantastic. 5 out of 5. Go read it. I'll probably read other Stanislaw Lem books too. So he's really good. So he's a
Yeah, I mean
Polish.
that's a really short book. I mean,
Yeah,
you could read that in a week or
yeah,
less.
a week or two. Yeah,
What else has he written? I'm looking at his other
there's a lot of books written actually.
Eden, Fiasco, Futurologist, the Futurological Congress, High Castle, or Remembrance. Wow, he's done a lot of stuff. Wow,
Yeah, he's done a
isn't he?
lot.
Isn't he a Swedish author or something?
He's Polish.
Polish. That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
he died in 2006.
Okay.
But he has a lot of books. Yeah, he was in his 80s, I think, when he
So did
passed.
you enjoy? Was this a nice palate cleanser after reading Penultimate Truth?
Well, I like Penultimate Truth.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
so I enjoy Penultimate Truth, but I do think like I would be in agreement with you. You probably would agree too because you haven't have you read the book? Oh, you did the audiobook.
Audiobook.
So
Yep.
you've seen how simple it is, and it follows the one character, and so it has a good story, simple to follow, really deep
Yeah.
ideas, but simple to follow. There's not a lot of jumping. There's no jumping back and forth with like Penultimate Truth, and not a jumble of ideas. It's all very sequential and nicely ordered and well done. So
I always appreciate that. Sometimes
yeah,
simplicity. You can have a simple story, but still have very complex ideas behind it. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I
Yeah,
always think about the novel Stoner, and
yeah, you
it's
brought
just
that up before. Yeah,
it's about a man.
sounds like a good
It
book.
follows him from childhood through adulthood, and it's really just about his sort of stoic
Hmm.
nature and how he
Okay.
views the world and stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a really fascinating book because it was a very human book and it wasn't
Hmm.
complicated at all. There wasn't any major plot turns or anything like that. I don't think
Yeah.
Solaris, from what you're telling me, has any major plot turns either. Right? It's very, like you said, psychological. It's very just to him.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the biggest plot turns are when what he tries to do with Rhea, because he tries to send her off on a ship, and then probably just like what they're trying to figure out with the ocean, the different theories with the ocean, like what is this thing that they're studying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you read it.
yeah,
I'm glad
really
you
good.
enjoyed it. I figured you would like it. So
Yeah, it's really good. Very deep thinking and pretty fantastic. So 5 out of 5. So there you go.
nice.
Yeah, Solaris. Yeah.
Well, that's Solaris.
Yeah.
How many books? Is that the only thing you've finished in the last month or so, or have you finished more?
This is actually I did finish another science book, and then I started another science book, but
Oh, like
I
nonfiction.
nonfiction, yeah, yeah. So,
Gotcha.
but this was the focus for the last like month. I just started a new science book though, but
Nice, nice.
nonfiction. I am
I need
kind of
to read more nonfiction.
yeah. You should pick up some biography. I was thinking about reading a biography pretty soon too, actually, just to mix it up a little bit.
I have a couple biographies in my
Yeah,
shelf now. I just haven't read them. And then I
yeah.
also have like Howard Zinn's book, The
Oh,
People's
yeah.
History of the U.S., which I've
Mhm.
started but have not finished. So
Okay.
it's a fascinating nonfiction book.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
recommend. And then I also just, because I always do this, I checked out How Fascism Works. It's an
Mhm.
audiobook
Okay.
that's about how fascism works. And
Yeah, there you
my friend Jordan recommended that one to me.
go. Okay.
And so I have that. That one's only 6 hours long, so it's relatively short. So I should.
Yeah.
And then I also bought another book yesterday at the Goodwill because I can't afford to go to Barnes and Noble. So the frugal way of buying books is to go to Goodwill and look for some
Look for
gems.
some cheap,
I
cheap
found
books.
this book called
Have
How
you
to
been?
Get Out of Your Own Way. It's a self help book,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it's short. So
Okay.
excuse me. I
Cool.
figured, you know what? It's Goodwill. It's short. Could be interesting. So I picked that up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I haven't started it yet, but
Lily wants to read too, so
yeah,
she wants to listen.
she wants to read the perfect book.
The perfect. Oh, yeah, there you go. perfect pun.
Not
there.
without our puns on the Book Brothers
Yeah.
podcast. But
Okay, let me go this way.
I myself have finished 3
What have you
books. Yeah,
Tell
I
us
finished.
everything you have read.
So I'll start with this one. I don't know if you've heard of this author, S.A. Cosby.
Not.
He tends to write like grounded human stories set usually in the South. He's an author of color, and he writes about people of color, and this one is no exception. This is
Okay.
All the Sinners Bleed, which let me read you the description.
Sure.
A black sheriff, a serial killer, a small town ready to combust. Titus Crown, I love that name, is the first black sheriff in the history of Sharon County, Virginia. In recent decades, Quiet Sharon has had only 2 murders, but after years of working as an FBI agent... Oh, sorry, hold on, Why did I had to click on the thing. All right, at a point. After years of working as an FBI agent, Titus knows better than anyone that while his hometown might seem like a land of moonshine, cornbread, and honeysuckle, secrets always fester under the surface. And there's more to it, but it goes on. But basically, the gist is they find he's investigating the murders of. Let me back up a little bit. So the story opens with this young guy, and he has a gun, and he goes into a school, and he shoots the teacher. He shoots a teacher, and then he shoots himself. And then he finds out that they're both connected, and he finds out that they both were, them and along with an unknown third person were luring and kidnapping children and doing all kinds of heinous crimes with them and putting it on tape and all that. So
Yeah.
the entire book is him investigating that crime, finding out
I see.
who the third wolf was. I say wolf because in the videos they wear wolf masks and stuff to hide their identities.
Gotcha.
So he's going after the third wolf, and
Third wolf. Well,
this is a really good read. This was it was very much like I said, it's grounded in reality, but it still had like twists and turns throughout. There's a lot of themes, like obviously like there's a lot of like racial themes and stuff, being the first black sheriff in the county, and him sort of having to deal with the response from some of the residents about him being the first black sheriff and all that. But the novel at the end is overall just about him investigating these crimes, and it's kind of procedural, but it's also very cerebral in a sense. It's very dark, and I don't normally read dark stories,
it takes place in modern, like today.
Oh yeah, it's a contemporary setting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he really describes like all the heinous things that he encounters while he's investigating this stuff, and so it wasn't the most fun read in that sense, but
Right.
which is fine because it's such a well crafted book. Like the way he writes dialogue, the way he writes characters, there's just an authenticity to it all that I appreciated.
Okay.
So I thought that one was really good. I
What's
really
what's the title of that one again?
it's called
Sinner?
All the Sinners Bleed
All the Sinners. All the
by
Sinners.
S.A. Cosby. And
Yeah.
I came across him on Book Talk, as I do a lot of other books and authors and stuff. And I came across a video of him, and he seems like a very like down to earth guy. He was doing a book reading at a bookstore, and there's a clip where he's talking about how his literary manager, I believe it was, calls him and says, "Hey, give me your bank account because I need to transfer this money to you. You just got like your first royalty check or something like that."
Oh, yeah.
It was a check. He's like, "Oh, okay. How much is it? Like, is this urgent? Because I'm in the middle of something." He's like, "Well, yeah, it's about $200,000, so it is urgent." I'm like, "Oh, wow!"
Yeah.
And that was like him saying, like, "This is the first time that I felt like, oh, I've made it as an author." Is when I,
Yeah. That's pretty
So he wasn't bragging. He was just like, saying
like,
like, yeah, like I really felt like, oh, I've done it, as a writer,
yeah.
and it's well deserved because like All Sinners Bleed is a great book. I haven't read any of his other stuff. I do.
How long is it?
It's only I did the audiobook. But
Cheater.
Well, the regular book, the print book is 338 pages. The audiobook was, I think the audiobook was like 12 hours or something like that.
Okay.
But for being 12 hours, it moved really fast.
That's a pretty long audiobook.
The story's never.
Was it acted out? Was it acted out like
No,
drama?
no.
Yeah.
I mean, the person that does the narration does do like different voices for different characters.
Yeah.
but it wasn't like Solaris, for example, where it was done like an audio play. It was more like just a
Okay.
straight audio novel.
Yeah.
But it's really well made.
Sounds
It
interesting.
never drags. You know, when we did Penultimate Truth, I felt like that book dragged a lot. There was a lot of chapters that just made me think like, what is going on? What is happening? Like, how does this add anything to the story? You know,
Okay.
I
You
can't say
say
that with this book. You
okay,
know,
that's good. So it's more concise and to the point. Also, does it have multiple like narrators, or is it just like one? Does it follow the one character, like
it
the
follows
sheriff?
the one. It's all through his. It's all through
Okay.
the
It's just
sheriff's
perspective.
POV
Yeah.
completely. You know,
Yeah.
you
Those are
sort
concise.
of you experience the world completely through his eyes and how people like treat him and talk to
Hmm.
him
Hmm.
and all that stuff. You know, his father plays a big part. He has like a girlfriend that plays a big part.
Hmm.
But really, it comes down to him. It's his story, and
Yeah.
I don't want to give anything away. But all I'll say is that yeah, it's kind of like a dark sort of investigative thriller
Okay.
that's
Cool.
very well made. So
Yeah.
that's
Sounds cool.
All the Sinners Bleed. I'm gonna go
Listeners-
through quick because I want to talk about the
Yeah.
other
Sure.
books
Sure.
that I
Yeah.
read.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, All Sinners Bleed. I logged that on Storygraph, which for those of you, I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah. You brought it
Um,
up.
if you're on Goodreads and you hate Goodreads because it's owned by Amazon and because the UI is clunky and all that, I really recommend Storygraph to track your books and stuff. And yeah, I gave it on Storybox. I said Storyblock. Storygraph. I gave it on Storygraph 4 stars out of 5. That's how much I enjoyed it. So,
Cool.
All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. And then what else did I finish last month? I finished book 8 of The Expanse. Have you read any of The Expanse novels, David? I
I
think
have
I've asked you
not. You
this.
keep recommending them. I probably will have to dive in at some point.
Yeah, I really like these novels. I mean, again, audiobook as well, but the book itself is 622 pages.
Oh wow. It's a
And I think the
big one.
audiobook is about 18, 19 hours.
Okay. It's a long read, long
They're
list.
very long,
Very
but
expensive, you know.
exactly. There you go.
The
The
Expanse.
reason why I recommend them is because they move fast. The prose isn't like flowery, heavy prose
Mhm.
like what you kind of got a little bit with Penultimate Truth, for example. It's very straightforward. Like he doesn't mince words. He
Is there a
just
lot of action? Like, is
there's
it
a,
action heavy?
there's a good amount of action, but honestly, not. I think the ratio from it's very balanced, the action,
Mhm.
so it's not like
Okay.
it's all action.
Yeah.
But book 8, just to give you a little bit more context,
Yeah.
um, this is Persepolis Rising. It's book
Mhm.
8 of the, oh no, excuse me, book 7 of The Expanse. And in the Thousand Sun network of humanity's expansion, new colony worlds are struggling to find their way. Every new planet lives on a knife's edge between collapse and wonder, and the crew of the aging gunship the Rocinante have their hands more than full keeping the fragile peace. In the vast space between Earth and Jupiter, the inner planets and belt have formed a tentative, uncertain alliance, still haunted by a history of wars and prejudices. On the lost colony world of Laconia, a hidden enemy has a new vision for all of humanity and the power to enforce it. New technologies clash with old as the history of human conflict returns to its ancient patterns of war and subjugation. But human nature is not the only enemy, and the forces being unleashed have their own price, a price that will change the shape of humanity and the Rocinante, unexpectedly, and forever. So that last part is talking about there's an alien element to this series.
Mhm.
You don't see too much of it, but it's kind of like the ongoing mystery that's weaved throughout the entire series. Because they
Okay. I
discover
like that.
like technology and then the
Mhm.
alien technology that does all kinds of stuff. Mainly, it opens up this big kind of think of it like a bubble in space, and inside this, once you go inside this bubble, there's all these hundreds of like little gateways or entries to other parts of the universe, and they all have
Um,
like planets and stuff that are habitable
yeah.
for human life. So there's it's a push and pull between Earth, Mars, and the Belt. The Belters are the people who like grew up in space, like they don't live in a gravity well, right? So they're human, but they're like, physiology is a little bit different because it's evolved to
Yeah.
be in zero gravity,
Okay.
and then Earth is like the dying empire, and then Mars is like the new kid on the block who's like more technology driven and stuff. So that's just kind of like throughout the series is
Yeah.
that's like the main conflict, and then you
Is
have the
that
alien element.
is that bubble thing that connects with other planets? Is that like, do they use light speed for that, or that's just like some
Well,
teleport?
it's
Do they
well,
talk
it's
about
interesting that you
bubble?
ask because when you go through the big bubble, it's called the gate. When you go through the main gate,
Yeah.
you can only go so fast before forces within the gate stop you.
Hmm.
Because there's like a weird, I don't know how to explain it, but there's basically like this alien presence that like prevents you from like going so fast and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And inside of that bubble, there's like what used to be a generation ship is now used as like a space station basically, and then you have all the ring gates
Okay.
throughout. So
Yeah.
Laconia is the big one. Laconia is basically like this former Martian like general, space general or whatever,
Hmm.
defected from Mars and like started up his own
Okay.
military,
Gotcha.
presence, his own
Hmm.
on his own planet, which they call Laconia.
Okay.
And they're even more advanced than Mars in this book because they've been utilizing the alien technology to like build their ships and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah, they
So that's
easily take over that space station that I
Mhm.
mentioned,
Okay.
and James Holden and crew who are on the Rocinante. That's like the main crew, main characters, the core characters in the story. They arrive and they get caught in the middle of this like of the Laconians basically taking over the space station, and it's like conflict between them and the Belters, and they sort of like get caught in the middle of that stuff. And again, I won't give too much away, and kind of
Yeah.
wouldn't matter since you haven't read them, but.
Mhm.
Maybe if you one day do want to read them, you'll get to them pretty quick. Honestly, I think book 4 is the weakest. Book 4 takes place on one planet, and sorry, and it's
Okay,
like
you're getting
not the
choked up. It's so epic,
yeah,
man.
it's like yeah, right. It's like the weakest one because like the slowest one, but every other book
Okay.
before and after that so far has been
Yeah.
great.
Sounds pretty cool.
You know what you should do, David? Do you have Amazon Prime?
My parents have it, I think. I did have it for a while, and then I go off and on. So yeah,
Well, if
definitely.
you ever had a chance, they made a TV show on the first 5 books called The
Okay,
Expanse.
yeah, The Expanse. Yeah, yeah.
So I love the show. I kind of want to buy it. It's very expensive to buy like physical media
Yeah,
nowadays. You
right.
think it would be cheaper, right? Because everything is on
Yeah.
streaming now, pretty much.
I guess
Uh,
that's like, yeah, that's rare now. So maybe they just jacked up the price on that. It's
I
just
think
like a
so.
rare collector's item kind of thing.
I was looking on YouTube because YouTube sells the individual seasons, but it's like
Hmm.
I think it's like $20 per season or something like
Oh
that. I'm
wow.
like,
Okay.
that's a
Maybe I'll watch the
lot.
show.
So
Yeah, maybe I'll watch the
watch the
show.
show. I highly recommend you watch the show, and I highly recommend you read the first book.
Hmm.
And I think you'll get into it. It's been for me. It's been like it. I can't think of any other book series that I've continuously followed.
You kept going.
But
Yeah.
now I'm on book 8, and I just finished this one, which is book 7, which was great. So
That's cool. Nice.
really enjoyed it. Like I said, really, it's definitely a space opera. It's definitely got a lot of themes of like colonization and
Yeah.
expansion, and sort of the erasure of culture and stuff. Because the Belters are like they're the marginalized group in the story. They have their own culture, they have their own like slang, and they have their own
Yeah.
all that. But they're the redheaded stepchild of the three main factions. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
humans, but they're not treated as such a lot of the times.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So.
Yeah.
I
Pretty
think
cool.
that political dynamic is so interesting because you can draw like parallels between that and like real world stuff.
Hmm.
I was kind of thinking, not to get too much into it, but I was kind of thinking that like the Belters are like almost like what you would see as like the Palestinians or Ukrainians in real life.
Hmm.
Just this like underdog that's constantly getting
Getting attacked.
attacked by much more powerful forces.
Yeah.
To leave it at that. But yeah, so many good human parallels. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
and it doesn't ask a lot of you in terms of like,
How's the writing, and like does it jump around with a lot
well,
of
that's what I was
characters?
going to say. So 2 things. So
Yeah,
the
different
writing's very
perspective.
accessible, very
Uh-huh.
accessible. Anyone could read these books and understand easily like what's going on. I think that's why I like them so much because like when I read Penultimate Truth, I was like, This
Yeah, what's
writing style is so different
Very
compared
convoluted.
to something like The Expanse, where it's way more accessible and easy to understand. So the writing style is very accessible. Two, there are a lot of POVs. As each book goes on, they add more and more characters. I think book 7 and book 6 had like 12 or 13 different POVs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's balanced, right? So like you still have like the core characters POVs, and then they'll sprinkle in someone else throughout.
Okay.
But
That sounds cool.
yeah, so there are a lot of POVs to contend with, but I don't think that's a drag at all, because the story is easy enough to follow that's not really a factor.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
honestly, you'll get used to it. The first book only has 2 POVs, I think, or 3. And then, every book after that is just more and more and more. You know what I'll do, David? I'll ship you the first book for Christmas. That'll be my gift to you. I'm serious.
I mean,
If you can commit to reading it, I'll ship it to you.
Yeah, I'll read the first book if you send it to me. I mean, if
right,
I get a
cool.
free book out of this deal, I'll make
It's
sure.
long. It's like that big. I think I have
sure.
it somewhere.
Okay.
Where do I have
We
it?
could talk about it here on the show too and be like, oh, here's Adrian's copy of The Expanse.
Oh, hold on. Let me grab it really quick.
Is this going to be an extra copy or is this your copy of the
This
book?
is my copy. Look.
Oh, your copy. Okay.
See how big that?
Yeah. How many pages can you
Let's see.
check
This
out?
one
How many pages
is
you got?
561 pages.
Okay. It's not bad.
Leviathan Wakes.
Leviathan Wakes.
Unless better yet, I know how you feel about this, unless you want to do the audiobooks. And here's why I recommend the audiobooks.
The show.
Because the narrator, I think his name is Henderson Mays. Jefferson Mays. I don't know why I'm saying the wrong name. Jefferson Mays is audio. He does all the Expanse books. And he's great. He has a great voice.
Okay.
So he has a great, and not only that, he's very talented because he does different he does like a lot of the Belter accents. He does them really well. So
Or just all accents too. Oh, wow.
yeah, so that's your homework, is either to try out an audiobook,
Oh,
watch
man.
the show, and if not, I'll ship you my print version of the first one, Leviathan
Okay.
Wakes.
Like out of those, probably just ship me the book, honestly.
Okay.
'Cause if it's just in my face, then I'll just like, well, I guess I'm gonna read it now.
All right,
Like,
I'm going to ship it to you. I'll get your address
you
after
really
the
want
show.
to.
Persepolis Rising, book number 7 of The Expanse. That's the book. It's really good.
Cool. Nice.
For anyone who
Sounds-
hasn't read the series or checked it out, I love it. I love it so much. So
It kind of sounds like it reminds me of. I've talked a little bit about it with you, but the Culture series of books by Ian Banks. That's a really good
we talked a
series.
little. You did one of them on the show one time. It was the game.
Yeah. That was
the game of games.
The player
or
of
what was it called?
games. The player of games. Yeah. That was one we did do earlier. The Culture is really good too. That has like different factions and there's a whole war going on in the background. So kind of reminded me.
Aren't those all standalone though?
Yeah, those are all separate. They're not sequential. I mean, I don't know if they're going chronological order. They might, but yeah, they're just standalone books in a series, which I do like. So
Yeah. The nice thing about these books is that they're all connected, even though like they may introduce whole new characters and plot lines. You still have your core group of characters in these, so they're always going to be connected. All right, David. So that's Persepolis Rising.
Yeah.
Do we have time? Do we want to do the third one that I finished, or do you want to?
yeah, I think we could. Yeah,
Okay.
we got like 10 minutes. You want to do 10 minutes? We can
So
it real
I'll
quick.
do really quick. This one's called Pimp, the story of my life,
Wait, never mind. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, continue.
by Iceberg Slim. I also did the audiobook for
Iceberg
this.
Slim.
Iceberg Slim.
Who
This
was
was like
a
a
real pimp in
12
real life, probably.
What's that?
Was he a real pimp in real life? Is this like a
Yeah. So
audio?
let me
Go ahead.
explain. So it was a 12-hour audiobook, and I'll read you the description really quick. A blueprint, a Bible. What Sun Tzu's art of war was to ancient China, Pimp is to the streets. As real as you can get without jumping in. This is a story of Iceberg Slim life as as he saw, felt, and tasted and smelled it. It is a trip through hell by the one man who lived to tell the tale. The dangers of jail, addiction, and death, they're all too familiar for today's black community. By telling the story of one man's struggles and triumphs in an underground world, Pimp shows us the game doesn't change. It just has a different swagger. Only Slim could tell the story and make the reader feel it. If you thought Hustle and Flow was the true Pimp story, this book is where it all began. This is the heyday of the Pimp, the hard-won pride and glory. Small though it may be, the beginnings of Pimp before it was dragged in front of the camera, before Pimp Juice and Pimp Style. Though it is a tale of his times, It will remain current and true for as long as there is a race bias, as long as there is a street life, as long as there is exploitation. So yeah, he wrote this book based on his life, life when he was a pimp himself I think it was like the 30s and 40s. It's a much older book, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate most about this book is the language. So it doesn't have flowery prose per se, but it's very unique to like the kind of like language and slang that he would have used back then. And there's times when I found myself struggling to understand what he was talking about, but most of the times, like through context, you finally got, like when he calls someone a runt. A runt is a big word throughout. Runt just means one of the girls that he pimps, right? A stud is basically a person that pays for the services, right? You think it would be the word John, but he uses the word stud a lot.
Stud.
And he says, he says Cino, like, oh yeah, it cost me a
Maybe
Cino.
that was like an old time word they used for it.
Lots of old timey slang that I can't do it justice just by talking about it. But it was so fascinating because I haven't read a book in a while that had such a unique writing style and such a unique language. And here's the thing also, there's not much of a story. Like, there is a story, don't get me wrong, but like there aren't any major plot arcs or character arcs. He like starts off very like, in earnest. I say in earnest, but he starts off very small, let's just say, with like one girl. But then he like, something happens and he goes to jail for a little bit, breaks his mama's heart, gets out of jail, goes back to pimping, gets a little bit more success, gets a little bit more heat, goes back to jail, gets out, and then that's like the running like through line of the story is just him getting in and out of jail. But the bulk of it is him learning how to be like the best pimp, and just all the slang and the words and language he uses, and all the characters that he runs into and works with. And here's the thing too, like the main character, he's not a good guy. Like, he's a pimp. He has to do what pimps do. He has to like get physical with people and stuff. So he's not like exactly a good character. I also wouldn't call him an anti-hero either, because he's not even an anti-hero. He's just a guy that does this, that's in this line of work because he loves it. But in the end, he realizes that it's not worth it. Like, he decides to go square. That's another phrase on it. It's like, he decides to go square, and he like buckles down, goes to like night school, gets a regular job. He gets married and has kids. So and that's Pimp in a nutshell. But I really enjoyed it because, like I said, it was just a very uniquely written book from a very unique, sort of niche perspective. Like, how often do you hear about the pimp game? Like you hear about it on a very surface level manner, but you never really get down to like the nitty gritty of what this life was like, right? So good novel.
That'd be interesting. I mean, can you imagine if you combine like a pimp in the Expanse novels? Like, could you imagine like what kind of books you make? Like, he's a pimp in the Expanse sci-fi universe. Like, he's pimping out like alien women or something. Like alien. Like, can you imagine? I
could see someone doing that as a story. That would be a very unique take on like sci-fi. Like a space opera pimp. On a space
like
station.
All these humans want to try out alien women and stuff like that. It's like, I want to know what that's like.
Well, Captain Kirk would be their first customer, I think.
I guess so.
But anyway, David, that's the third book. That was Pimp in a nutshell. So a lot of good stuff. A lot of good books this time around. I feel we both read some good stuff.
Very wide variety of books too, not just science fiction, obviously, today. So kind of cool.
The Expanse novels are like my go-to sci-fi. And then I try to read stuff outside of sci-fi, like Pimp.
Also with the Expanse novels, last thing, are there different authors that write that,
No.
or is it always the same author?
So they fly under the name James S.A. Corey, but that's a pen name. Okay. It's actually two writers that have written all of them. I forget their names. So let me Google it really quick.
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
So James S.A. Corey, they're the pen names of Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank, who also have a podcast where they talk about writing and the Expanse and stuff. And they also wrote the show as well. I think they were the primary showrunners on the show. I don't quote me on that, but I know they were closely involved with the production of the series. So
cool.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, but James S.A. Corey, they came out with a new book called Mercy of the Gods or something. I haven't read it. I don't know much about it, but
Cool.
Yeah, the Expanse is my go-to sci-fi now. I'm sure to go outside of sci-fi a little bit, so that's why I did
Yeah.
like
Nice.
All the Sinners Bleed, and that's why I did Pimp, because I thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
expand my
Well,
horizons a little bit.
I did
So,
Solaris,
and you
so
did
I did not
Solaris.
I extended my psychological horizons, but still
Yeah.
science fiction here.
I mean,
So
that's a classic, though. I feel like whether you like sci-fi or not, you should
yeah,
read
it
it.
was excellent. Yes. So check out Solaris as well. Also check out my book as well, Project Red Planet. For those
Project Red Planet, available in an
Yes,
Amazon
available
store
on
near you.
Amazon or through ebook as well. I was also thinking about making an audiobook. Speaking of audiobooks, it's like maybe I should just do an audiobook. Maybe I'll do like my opening chapter, do it as a preview or something on my channel.
So yeah, well, yeah, you should. I mean, I think it's good to expand your horizons and read different stuff. Even though sci-fi is my go-to.
Yes.
But yeah, what else, David? I mean, I'm reading the next book in the Expanse, book number 8 now. I'm reading American Psycho.
okay.
I'm almost done with that. I'll probably bring that to the table
American
next.
Psycho. Ooh,
Yeah, American Psycho.
be
I have a
interesting.
lot to say about that book.
I have some stuff to say about the movie. It's been a while, but
The movie's great, but the movie's tame compared to the book. I'll just say
oh
that.
really? Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm reading a Don Rickles biography book because I'm a huge Don Rickles fan.
John Rickles
So
is cool. Yeah, he's cool.
yeah, we'll have to bring that to the
I'm actually
table.
interested. I was going to ask you. Maybe we'll talk about it next time. But I just saw Frankenstein, the new Guillermo del
Oh
Toro
yeah.
Frankenstein.
How
Thought it
was it?
really good.
You
Thought
said it was
excellent.
good.
I thought it was really good. Yeah, I thought it was excellent. I mean, I'm a big Del Toro fan, so like I knew I'll probably like this, but it was really good. But that made me think. I was like, oh, maybe we should read the original Mary Shelley Frankenstein at some point. I don't know. I don't know how big
How
it is.
long is it?
Yeah, it's written in the 1800s. I don't know how long it is. It's probably pretty massive. I would guess it's like 400 to 500 pages, but I don't know. If you want to check on that, that should
Actually,
be
it's not bad. It's 280 pages.
okay. That was something that'd be kind of fun, just to read the original source material because it's always been done so many times, and now that I just watched Del Toro, I was kind of like, maybe I should read the original just to see what started this whole thing of this crazy scientist trying to overcome
I
death.
kind of want to get a Netflix subscription just to watch that and
Yeah, you should check it out,
season
yeah.
5 of Stranger Things since that's the big hot
Yeah,
show.
I just saw another episode. Yeah, I was like, maybe Stranger Things. I could dive back into that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, David. Any craft things you wanted to mention really quick? I know you
No, just on
got
my
your
channel.
book out.
I've been doing a lot of shorts. I've had more success with my shorts recently, so I've kind of been taking a break on the longer form and doing shorts, which has been
I'm
good for
seeing
me.
that. I'm seeing your shorts pop up almost.
Yeah.
Do you release one every day, or what's your
I'm doing a
schedule like?
lot. Like they're actually really easy to make, so it's been fun for me. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna pump these out. I've been getting a few more subscribers doing it that way, so I've been doing that. But almost
What are
one
you
a
at now?
day. I have 180 subscribers.
Hey,
That's
not
something.
bad, dude.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
It's been what, like a year and some change
Been
now?
over a year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half. Yeah.
Hey, that's slow but organic growth, right?
Yeah, it's all natural. So, yeah, I do like the shorts, but I probably will be doing at some point. Like I said, I want to do like an AI version. Like my next plan for the next long video I'll do, I'm gonna do an interview with Galileo, but I'm gonna make Galileo AI, so it'll be kind of funny. But it's gonna be a hilarious, ridiculous take that I normally do. So,
Are you gonna have an apple bop him on the head?
no, that was Newton actually. So get your sleep right.
Oh,
Come on.
Galileo. Oh, that's right. I'm getting
This is
my.
the guy. No, but I'm gonna make a joke about the Leaning Tower of Pisa because supposedly he dropped objects from the Leaning Tower to test if they fell at the same time, hit the ground at the same time. But
Oh,
we don't know
that's
if that's true or
interesting.
not. So, but
I
anyway,
never heard that.
yeah,
That sounds
that's
like George Washington chopping down the cherry tree
kind
type.
of. Yeah, we don't know if
Lord.
it actually happened or not. So, but anyway. But yeah, so I'll be doing videos on that, and then of course my book, plugging my book, Project Red Planet, available on Amazon. Go buy it. I might do an audiobook of it at some point. So
Nice.
yeah,
Well, I'll plug my podcast, the Never Seen It podcast, neverseenitpodcast.com. You can check out all of our episodes there. We've got a lot going on. We got the Black Phone coming out here soon.
Black Phone.
Well, actually, by the time this comes out, the Black Phone will have already been released. But
Okay.
we have the Black Phone. I want to watch Black Phone too, just to kind of tie things up, see where the story goes. But yeah, check us out. We're on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube as well. So we get our shorts. I don't know. Our shorts do well sometimes, and sometimes they just completely flop. So
Yeah, you never know with shorts, but the really successful ones so far have been shorts. So I suggest keep pumping those shorts out as much as possible, get more traction. So
nice,
yeah.
awesome, David. Well, yeah, Boots
Yep.
Too Big on the interwebs. Professor Pixel.